Bro,
Fam?
here we are.
We're here, man.
We made it. Dude, 6 to 9 months
I'm telling you.
did it take for me to actually sit down and do this. And, for those, everyone that's going to watch this and anyone that's going to be listening, I'm going to thank y'all in advance.
This is it, bro.
And I'm going to be very honest, like, y'all going to see me develop and grow and using myself as a case study for this podcast because, man, the one thing I know I am not a finished product. Like, I haven't gone through something and I've, like, come out victorious and now I'm here to stand and tell you, like, yo, follow my blueprint because this is how it works, man. I don't know jack.
Work in progress, my bro.
Work in progress. And so it's like the fact that I'm sitting here, right? Like, I never put myself out there like that, ever. 31 years old. And, like, I've never really put myself in a position where, like, I am standing on this. I'm going to tell y'all that. And that's what I believe. And this is why I'm doing this. Like, I've never done that in my life. And so when God has put this, yo, you need to start talking, it was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I really want to be out there like that. And so,
isn't that the beauty of it all?
It is.
Because,
it is. Because the reality is, this is episode number 1. This is not even like, we ain't doing no scripts. We ain't doing no script. I don't even have a podcast name. I mean, me and my boy Phil, you guys can't see him, but he's behind the camera and I asked him to join me because I don't know what I'm doing. And he has the skill, he has the expertise, he has the experience. And that's my brother for life.
For life,
and
bro.
Y'all will know that because we did a podcast before.
We were talking crud. Yeah, we were talking a whole heap of madness.
But it was, that made me fall in love with podcasting and talking and being honest and somewhat radical. Yes, we had a lot of fun with it, but that was for me, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, this is no substitution for like therapy, but what we did 3 years ago was very therapeutic to me.
Very, very much.
And I just enjoyed it to the fact that, like, it never really went away. We kept bringing it up. We kept bringing it up, and COVID hit and, all kinds of stuff went crazy and everything was just like, we got lost in a lot of other things. But, like, man, that year, we probably did it for about maybe like 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And we were popping out like episodes every week.
George was coming down from Leeds.
Yeah, shout out to G.
Yeah, bro. Shout out to George.
He will definitely be here at some point. But I think for me, like, I had to really be honest with myself in the last year and realize that there's a lot of stuff in me that, like, wants to come out, needs to come out. But the trigger, and this is why I love having you here, Phil, is because the trigger for this podcast really stems from a bunch of conversation I had with people. And it stems from the new realization that, like, God is really in my life now. And he's doing things that I can't really explain. And so we've all come to the realization that we are in a time of our lives where, like, God is placing leadership on us. God is placing responsibility on us. God is placing accountability on us.
Big time.
Big time. And we all feel the same way. We don't feel qualified.
At all.
Like, we have zero qualification. And so when I thought about this podcast, I was like, man, I'm gonna have imposter syndrome, and I'm gonna feel like I don't belong here. Like, what are my credentials? Like, what have I achieved, and what have I, like, who have I helped in the past, and all that stuff. And I was thinking like, nah, man. And so for me, it was like, I'm gonna wait till I do that and have that down packed, and it's like, and I can show that as like evidence, like, yo, this is this is my proof, and this is my validation for being able to do this. But like,
I must cut my brother up for a second.
yeah.
Because although my brother here, he feels like he's not qualified, and everyone is each to their own in it. But I do believe that God has blessed you with certain things that you're able to impart onto others anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you may not be a finished product in your eyes, but I feel like where you're going or what you have achieved right now is important for where we're about to go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you don't necessarily need some massive thing to say, okay, Jezreel, you've achieved this at this particular point. But the very fact that, and the thing is, the world will come to know who you are and what you have achieved at this time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess that will be later. But I will say the confidence in which you hold right now speaks to what we're about to do now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because the reality is that I am so at peace right now. Like, I'm not nervous. I'm nervous for like what this could bring.
Yeah.
Right. And the type of responsibility and the economy we have to develop and sort of showcase.
That's right.
But I am not nervous. I'm not nervous at these cameras pointing at me. I'm not nervous having this mic in my face. Like, I am not nervous. And I would have been. Which would be the case where I was like, nah, I can't do this. I can't do this, I can't.
By force, I would have brought him here.
And so it's, bro, let's be real.
Yeah.
Me, you, and a whole lot of other folks understand that, like, we are living a life that is not easy to live. And what do I mean by that? Like, for those folks that don't understand where we're going with this, let me just be very clear from the get-go. I ain't trying to manipulate you, tell you guys we're this and we're doing other things. You're going to get exactly what I'm telling you guys.
Raw.
This ain't no Christian podcast.
Nah.
This is not going to be Bible study once a week. This ain't going to be no preaching. And this is just a substitution for a pulpit. That's not what this is. What this is a combination of things. Number one, we have realized that we need community.
Big time.
We need community, and we are in the UK. And we're living amongst people where we realize we are the up-and-coming generation that's going to lead. And there's a disconnect. We don't have leaders in our age that are willing to state and say, the life I'm living is a Christian life. The person that I want to become, the person that I ought to become, is that of Christ. And in order to do so, I need to live by a certain set of rules. And we see the generation that's coming out behind us looking for role models, looking for how do we navigate this life? How do we do any of these things? And so I love the fact that me and you are here, bro, because we realized that. And that what came from you, bro. Came from you saying that, bro, we need community.
Big time. Yeah.
And this is not like we need an SDA community. We need a Pentecostal community. We need a Baptist community.
Kojic.
We need we ain't looking for that. Yeah. We're looking to build a community of faith-driven people.
That's right.
Willing to help and support and show their light to those that don't know Christ.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. But this podcast is going to use our own life stories, our experiences. I'm going to have people on this podcast that are not even Christian, that don't even believe in God, and that's cool. We're going to have people on here that are like on the cusp of it, right?
But just even just to add on to what Jez is saying here, anyone, obviously, if Jez wants to bring someone on that doesn't necessarily believe, we might not even talk about Christianity in
We
itself.
might not even talk about that.
We just talk about identity,
Yeah.
and self-growth, and the fact, like, where they used to be to where they are now. You know, I definitely am a big believer of learning from anyone,
Yeah.
because God can use anyone.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't feel that is spoken about enough
Yeah.
in church culture.
Yeah.
Because what have we to learn from them? Do you know what I mean? But that's the quote unquote.
That's the stigma, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
but I do believe in a big way
yeah.
that we can learn from them. But go you go.
But I love that you said that, because the reality is, a lot of things that I do now is because I learned from people that were not in the church,
There you go.
or that weren't even Christian for that matter.
Yeah.
Right? Because God just doesn't use people that self-proclaim that they're Christians.
This is it.
We'll be missing out on a whole lot of talent and things that happen in the church because of people who weren't in it. Right? And so I think it's going to be a case where, like, and like, for people that, like, feel like, it's going to be, they're going to talk about submission, and they're going to talk about the law of God. And,
We will talk about it.
we'll talk about that. Don't get it twisted. We definitely going to talk about that.
But that won't be the only thing.
But it's not going to be a dig at anyone.
Yeah.
Because we're learning this. We, like, all these everything I'm talking about, I'm literally going through it right now. And I want people on that journey. And also, hey, let me be very honest. Yeah, this might sound very selfish, but this podcast holds me accountable.
It's a diary.
It's a diary. And it also holds me very accountable to the people that, like, I try to be a leader to.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that we're like, this is the second part of this podcast that's going to be very important that you guys are going to get from this, is that the personal stake that is in it. And I know it's not going to be today. I don't know when this is going to be. But at one point in time, I'm going to be sharing my own story, right? And I'm going to go through some stuff. And, man, all I know, and I'm going to give you a snippet, if y'all can't reveal the inside, and y'all can't let that out, y'all ain't never going to be at peace.
Even just to go a bit deeper on what Jez is saying, is vulnerability is very essential, but you must also have people who are at the emotional level to be able to receive someone when they're vulnerable.
It's the name of the game.
That's it, bro.
It's the name of the game.
Have to be able to be at an emotional level to receive.
Yeah.
And whether it be criticism at the time or just silence and embrace.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, because I know there's a lot of people out there, they put out genuine content.
That's
right.
right.
They put out good messages, and they are very vulnerable. And all I'm realizing is that, like, a lot of times when I shared my story with individuals, and I was telling them about what happened and how I lived and how I got to where I was, and, like, why I'm in the UK, and, like, I have this different accent and all that stuff. Like, people are like, "Yo, that's so crazy that you're here right now."
Yeah.
And I think about that, and I'm like, if you never reveal what hurt you, or you never reveal what you're afraid of or most afraid of, you ain't never gonna get it. And, like, the crazy part is that the very thing that you don't want to reveal is the very thing that's gonna set you free.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna be, like, having these type of conversations. I'm gonna be talking about myself. People are gonna come out here and just, whoever's willing to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And so we're gonna do that, and through that, we're gonna build community, man. We're gonna do a bunch of stuff. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
And so, even, like, shout out to my boy Maz,
Oh.
because let me tell you, this is not my house. Where I'm sitting now is not my house, because my house is not available at the moment. but I will be using my house at some point in the coming weeks and months. But in the meantime, my boy Maz has opened up his space and has been, like, providing all this support. And I had a conversation with Maz, and I'm sure Maz will be on here at one point.
Yeah, he has to be.
But I had a conversation with Maz, and it completely, like, spun me, because he was so transparent about his journey. And, he was telling me about some personal stuff, and I was just like, man, He was like, bro, there needs to be more conversations around Christians in business and how their journey has been, because those two things are always put separately, because we don't talk faith in business. There's no faith in business. There's numbers, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And when I had that conversation with him, I was just like, man, this podcast can go so deep. And I love that about this podcast, that it can have the potential of that. And so, yeah, I enjoy the space now because let me go a bit personal here. I'm doing this podcast because personally, I've always felt a calling. There was always something where I wanted to be a leader. I'm not going to deny that anymore. I always wanted to be a leader in the church. But I hated, and I don't use that word lightly, but I hated the fact that I would have to become a pastor and be on the pulpit and wear a suit and tie.
Even now to this day, my brother don't like wearing suits.
Nah, actually, on the contrary, bro. Let me be very honest, bro. My dad put the love of suits in me.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he did. He
We
did.
don't
And I
see
always
that at Parkside.
like there's pictures like, because we always like have like matching suits when I was younger. Like when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, there's pictures of me and dad having matching suits. And he always emphasized, you always gotta look good, Jez. And like, but I hated not that I hated the suit itself. I hated that I had to mask and pretend that I was something, that we were something, right? And not that I had an awful home or anything. It wasn't anything like that. But I always felt that I am showcasing something that I know I'm not. And I hated that. That's why I love this podcast. Because
We're uncovering.
we're stripping all of that away. All of that goes away because, man, you know, I'm smiling from cheek to cheek, bro, because you know we're gonna have some conversations on here that are gonna be absolutely free.
Mind blowing. He said free. I'm saying mind blowing.
Yeah,
Because there's some stuff. There's some stuff that we need to talk about.
yeah,
And yes, you guys don't see me. You guys will eventually see me. But for now, I'm staying unknown.
yeah. I'm gonna be hidden, and that's all right.
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that I can like do this, right? And like I said, it's not a replacement of a pulpit, right? But I don't know where God's leading me with this. If it's a failure, it's only a failure because I don't continue pursuing whatever He's called me to do. But if I use this, right, and it fails, quote unquote, and this experience gains me something else, or it opens a door for something else, this is a success, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But here's how I work. If I don't invest in it, I won't give it my all. So, like I told you, I put a bunch of money together and I bought a bunch of equipment, and I've been accumulating that equipment over the last 3-4 months, right? Yeah. And my sister's like, "Why are you buying all this stuff for? What are you buying all this stuff for?" Right? She's like, "You're not gonna do this. Are you sure you're gonna do this? You're not gonna do this. Are you sure you're gonna do this?" And I'm like, "Trust me. If I put money in it,
You're doing it.
I'm doing it." Because I'm looking at that equipment, I'm like, that cost me X amount, and I'm like, nah, that can't run. So this is it, right? I'm accountable. I'm accountable to the standard I've set for myself. And I want people to understand that, like, I am the person I was, or the person I still am, because I don't want to make that mistake, right? This is not some distant person that did all these mistakes. I don't want to absolve myself from anything, right? But the person that I don't want to be anymore, right? That the person I am privately, that needs to die, right? And guys, this is how we talk. Like, I'm not talking about I need to be better. I need to have these new good habits, and nah. Old Jez has to die.
The reason why we've come to this, or he's come to this conclusion, I say we because this is what we talk about all the time. Like, I won't even lie to you, probably past however many years, we've been wavering on our faith, on complete crud, on nastiness or whatever it is.
Yeah. Give that translation for other people not in the UK.
Okay, so like, so we've just been wavering on our faith in terms of like being.
Bro, just tell them what crud means, bro. That's it.
So like, it's just madness.
On madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just, having faith, but not really applying it where we need to.
Yeah.
So
Or being very selective.
yes,
Where we apply it.
yeah. So for example, lusting and profanity, and and don't get me wrong, I'm not to say like, the swearing still comes in here and there.
Nah,
you know what I mean?
especially when you watch that football, yeah.
This is it. When I'm watching football, it comes out. It comes out, and God is still working on me. Hallelujah. You know what I mean? No, but this is it. Like, but we're coming from a place where we did not care about certain things, and God would have to take us for who we were. And don't get me wrong, God says, "Come as you are," but by beholding, you become changed. And this is what we believe. Like, if we really took this seriously. Now, I'm someone that has a bit of influence, and I've achieved certain things that people have eyes on me. Do you know what I mean? So it's a case where, and we're gonna get into this next week.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll get into this next week. But so now, obviously, for Jezreel to be talking about a place of leadership, I'm really trying to run away from it. But I understand that it's absolutely essential. But we'll go into this next week. Yeah, for sure. Go on.
Listen, guys, I would love for you guys to see Phil, because one thing, I realize is that body language speaks on its own. and you guys, like, I'm not playing. Like, Phil, I'm not gonna lie. You can say this stuff, right? But when people see you,
100%.
right, they understand the significance of what you're saying.
Yeah, for real.
Right? And so I think sometimes, like, I can't wait for us to capture that,
Yeah.
Like,
I'll call my head next time.
And I hope Phil is going to be available, because Phil got his own stuff going on as well. But, like, I think hopefully, like, Phil will be...
I'll be here as much as I can.
As much as he can.
Yeah, I'll be here as much as I can.
To help out, because obviously he's teaching me, and it also allows me to be, as free. Because you guys don't know, but, like, Phil is, like, he's my brother. And, like, when we're together, like, we have no restraints.
Yeah.
And so it allows for us to be speaking this freely anyway. Yeah. But I think we have a lot of people around us, bro, that are asking the same questions. And this is why this is literally from November last year to this point, I've been having conversations with people where I'm like, nah, that's God talking to me. Mm-hmm. And how do I know it's God? Thank you, Tim Ross. And hey, hold on one sec. That's we need to.
Have to, bro.
I am not someone that has. I will honestly say I don't have a mentor in my life, a spiritual mentor that I go to that knows me for who I am completely. Right?
Yes.
No facade, no nothing. Knows everything about me. Knows where I want to go. Like my struggles, all that. Right? And since I've stopped, and this is where this don't get it twisted. A lot of this inspiration for this podcast came from The Basement.
Yes, right.
And Tim Ross.
Life changing.
And the moment I was like, I started seeing episodes at the beginning of January. That's when I started really noticing The Basement and Tim Ross. And I was like, and I was envious, not jealous. I was envious, right? Because I was like, God knows in my heart, I wanna do this, and not for fame, and not for any of that stuff, right? But because I genuinely in my heart believe that I'm supposed to be a leader, and the only reason why I'm not doing this is because I'm too afraid, right? Fear will have me locked in, got me locked in for years and years on end, right? And so, his vulnerability is on another level. The people that support him, and obviously his experience, man, we can't replicate that.
Yeah. But
the beauty of The Basement and the way he talks is that he can't reach everybody. Right? And it's not about about discipleship. It's about how can we replicate, or how can other people step up, right? And go out on faith and be like, yeah, we're doing this in our community. And for me, it's like, yo, we doing this.
Yeah.
Not to be on the level, not to surpass, but because our community needs it. We need it. And the beauty of this is, it's like, it's gonna work, Phil. It's gonna work because I love the fact that, like, God is gonna use us one way or the other. There's gonna be people coming on here that's gonna help somebody change their life, or give their life to Christ,
Yeah.
or at least question how they're living their life.
100%.
Right? And and that, bro, if we can introduce somebody to Christ, or if we can say, like, yo, there's this person that's super successful and he has all these things and all these things look great. I'm not telling you if you follow Christ you're gonna be like that, but this person could lose it all and he'd still be rich. And he'd be absolutely okay because his walk is rooted in God. The way he lives and ministers his life is rooted in God. That close-knit relationship, the way he runs his home, that's because of God.
That's it. Yeah.
The way he puts boundaries in place for himself, that's because of God. And this is the stuff that we're trying to, like, facilitate.
Yeah, more than anything, because one thing that we've realized, especially when it comes to community, is that God can manifest something in you, or whatever He's already placed in you, with the right environment. That thing can be manifest in such a great way, but the platform has to be made clear. And for us, obviously, community means so many different things. Resource. Vulnerability, as we've been screaming in this already. Sorry, my mind went blank, but yeah, so many. Not just so many different things. Family, do you know what I mean? Just to be able to call something or someone or some people family, it's absolutely key, and we underestimate what that really means. I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, I've been quite blessed to have people around me for many years. But I've seen from the outside how people look in and wonder how we have what we have. Do you know what I mean?
It comes up all the time.
All the time. And I'll be real. It all comes down to the kind of people that you have, but this can be created in such a big way. And this is where it comes to that leadership and what we're talking about, bro. I know for a fact that I'm running away from it, or have been. But over the past 6 months, God has spoken to me very, very clearly that I must stop what I'm doing and I have to let Him lead. We spoke about something to do with submission. And this is not submission to do with women. That's a whole different thing.
No, that's a whole different conversation.
This is submission from us to God. In order for us to be able to achieve what we need to achieve on a big scale, because I personally believe that I'll be amongst kings and queens. Do you know what I mean? Presidents or whatever. But in order for me to be able to be there, I must be able to submit to God's will. And that I've been running away for the past 10, 15 years. Do you know what I mean? But anyway.
Bro, people don't understand, right? Yes, this is like a podcast that I'm going to run, right? And I'm going to do this, like, wholeheartedly. But I love, when the Holy Spirit takes over and just takes over and, like, speaks freely.
Bro.
Man, you don't interrupt. so for me, it's like, bro, I this submission thing, right? What was that?
Yeah, we'll figure that out in a minute.
We'll figure that out in a minute. But, like, this submission stuff, bro, like, I'm gonna talk to the fellas right now. Submission, don't request no submission from no woman or nobody until you're submitted to something and rooted in something that's bigger than you.
This is it.
Right? Like, don't, but I don't know, man, she's a woman of God and she's, man, where are you at?
This is it, bro.
And this is a question I ask myself all the time, right? Like I don't want to be over here and thinking like, oh man, where I'm at now, I'm good, man. I can demand these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, submission requires like self-realization, and it requires a lot of time in communication with God.
That's right.
And so, for me right now, there is no other way. And obviously, I'm gonna go personal now because I think I've given you guys highlights in terms of where I want the podcast to go. But I think the only way this works is full disclosure,
Yeah.
like rigorous honesty, transparency, vulnerability, right, and accountability. That's the only way this works. And I can't bring anybody on here and demanding that they provide that to me, to the people, to themselves, if I can't provide it myself, right? And everything can be given in segments, but I want people to understand who I am.
That's right.
And what I am, two separate things. And I want people to understand who I want to be, more so than who I am currently, right? I think a lot of people that know me personally may have a perception of me that I got my stuff together or got my ish together, right? And I have to say, like, I always say this, and this will be more clear as time goes on, like, the UK has been my salvation. Right? Coming to the UK has been my salvation. And sometimes God puts you in a place where you don't really want to go. And I knew from the get-go I did not want to come here. But ever since I've been here, I was able to do things because I was pulled out of an environment where I couldn't see anything, right? And it put you guys in my life. It put other people in my life. It gave me a community. It forced me to look into community, into culture. I had to face my culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's man. This podcast is.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
That's gonna be hilarious.
So, you see when he talks about culture. Yeah, we're Ghanaians, but we're born. He's born in Germany. I'm born in the UK. At one point, and this is what's mad about this, where we are now, because remember when we did the podcast, we had a certain view of our culture.
Yeah.
But see where we are now.
Yeah.
And we've got a certain view on our culture.
Yeah.
I kid you not, guys, yeah. When I say submitting to God, yeah, seems like probably the hardest thing to do because, as they say, the safest pair of hands are your own.
Yeah.
But when you actually leave it to Him, He humbles you in such a way that He's like, yo, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Who do you think you are, bro? and I'll be honest, like, when Jez was talking about culture, yeah, we're people that, like, we have it in us. He has it in him, but the brother has been running away.
Yeah, you want to put me on blast, yeah?
I'm gonna put you on blast. But the thing is, the funny thing is, I don't want to go into it right now.
Yeah, we will go into it though,
Yeah.
because everything will be on the table.
This is it.
Yeah.
But what's mad is where we are now.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah.
Like, I need that.
Oh man, I'm so pissed.
Honestly, honestly, guys, I need that culture.
Yeah.
But we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we know what we're talking about. And here's, but I'm gonna be very honest with you, Phil. And this, I need to say this, right? We are at the point where we realize the significance of culture.
That's right.
And we're realizing that maybe for myself, let me not speak for all of us, but let me speak for myself.
Yeah.
That culture has been a negative experience for me, hence why I've pushed it away.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And so when I was away from my family for a long time, it was easy, right, to adopt a different identity. Here you go again. Guys, identity's going to be a big theme of this, guys. But we are going to be very heavy on identity. And so basically, I was away from my family for a long time. And so I got to, the negative experience that I've had, I was like, I can become something completely new, right? And so now that I'm here, having been away from my family for like, what, maybe 10, 12 years, right? It allowed me to just be absolutely humbled by the fact that, like, I didn't know it all, right? But here's the asterisk to all of this, and this goes for any type of culture. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, I don't care. Your culture is what you are, right? The moment it takes over the identity that God has placed on you or wants to place on you, and it interferes with your walk and your ministry and your purpose, that culture becomes toxic.
Very, very much
And
so.
the one thing I will say is that as much as I
Wait,
want
repeat
to
that.
be,
You need to repeat that because that can't be missed.
I'll say it again. If the culture comes in the way of your purpose, of your walk with God, or your identity, that culture is toxic. If it hinders you from stepping outside of your comfort zone to reach out a hand and support a neighbor in your community, and you can't do it because, well, you know, I don't really mess with white people like that, or I'm gonna say it all, or they're not really for me. They're not woke. We ain't getting into all of that.
Nah.
But if that culture hinders your walk with Christ, you need to reevaluate the level of importance that culture has in your life. And maybe you've placed that culture where God is intended to live. And so, yes, I need to say that.
100%.
100% need to say that. So let me just say this. The podcast for me is those realizations that culture was neglected. But in that same breath, which is something I learned from Tim Ross, which is two things can be true at the same time, right? Even though I neglected the culture, I still believe that it is important that culture, earthly culture, does not supersede that which Christ has imparted on me.
That's it.
Right? And I think that's where a lot of our family, people that we know in our culture, we go wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of African Americans do the same thing. They put the black before their walk with Christ, their identity in Christ. Do you see what I'm saying? And so it happens all the time.
I think what's essential here is balance. And that's something I've only come to understand properly or begin to understand properly over the past year and a half. And it was a struggle in the beginning because what is balance? Do you know what I mean? But over time, you begin to realize that your culture can be a beautiful thing
100%.
when, like, accentuated by your faith.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for me anyway, this might be different for someone else. Do you know what I mean? But I know for me, I grew up very much Ghanaian, but obviously people will see me and hear me and they hear my accent. You know, they won't even think I speak Tree.
Yeah.
And I don't speak it that well, by the way, but I speak it enough. Do you know what I mean? To have conversations, but people will hear me. They will hear or see the people I'm with, and they won't even think I love my culture, but I do. I'm very much that person.
Yeah.
And you know how that kind of spills into your relationships now because, boy,
man. Yeah, so we're gonna dissect all of that, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna dissect all of that, and the beauty is that, like, everything. Look, I have to say this as well, and I want to be very clear about this. There's no absolute answers here. We don't have the blueprint for right and wrong.
nah.
Right? But what we do know is that we've made certain decisions in our life that have cost certain things, right? Certain consequences. We lost certain things, right? We missed out on certain things. But it doesn't negate the fact that we can't still have wealth.
That's right.
We can't have relationships, right? Redemption story still applies, right? You're underestimating God and His mercy.
Yeah.
If you're walking around like that. And so I think we have, for me, it's beautiful because I'm in this process where like I get to tell people, look, guys, I know who I was in the past. I know what I've done. I know what I struggle with right now.
Yes.
I know some of the things that I want to, but all I can tell you now is there is not an ounce of my body, or there's not a bone in my body that knows I need to be with Christ. And the only identity I want to have is in Him.
Is in Him.
And so that means losing people. It means not going to certain places. It means putting boundaries in place that to the next person may seem excessive, right? It means having to have conversations that are very uncomfortable, yet save so much time and pain. And the reality is, there's going to be people and friends that I've had who were good people, man. Like amazing people in my life that will look at this and they'll be like, nah, Jess, it's just a phase. You'll be back. Right? Or like they will say like, bro, we had no idea.
Yeah.
Right? And to a lot of degree, it's not even their fault. I misrepresented myself. And I didn't even know who I was.
Bro,
The reality is, most people find themselves in situations because they didn't have the courage to say, this is not me. I don't want to do this.
I kid you not. There are certain conversations I've had, where I've been chatting madness or chatting about the yams, and people obviously, for those who are close know me, I talk about the yams, and I'm unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I think as you grow and you realize certain things, you there are certain things you just don't talk about.
Yeah.
And I've had these conversations with certain people who, yes, in turn they were speaking about their own selves, and I appreciate the honesty and transparency. But then you leave certain scenarios thinking, why did I speak like that?
Yeah. Actually, why did you have those thoughts?
Why did I entertain that? And now, how do they now see me?
Yeah.
Because I know I'm on this walk.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm human.
Yeah.
And I love what I love.
Yeah.
But why did they have to know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a difference between vulnerability,
Yeah.
but to what end?
Yeah. You don't have to tell everything to everybody.
This is it.
And the reality is we are work in progress. Like,
Yes.
let's make that very clear to people.
100%.
Right? We're not over here on a pulpit or not over here on our high horse.
No.
But the reality is we have to also, like, guys, we're gonna talk about some stuff that's we're gonna be uncomfortable talking about.
Very. Even me saying that was uncomfortable, but
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Like, hey, I'm gonna say this here, and I'm not gonna be like some friends that I have to like. I have even struggled with this, and this is gonna be mad when me saying this. I'm gonna say this for me.
Yeah.
Right. We got people that struggle with lust, infidelity, pornography, all of those things.
Eat.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy. No,
but we do.
It is.
And it's killing marriages.
Yes.
It's killing masculinity. It's killing confidence.
Killing femininity.
We're
We're gonna go into that.
We're gonna go into it. But the reality is that like I don't want any brother of mine or sister of mine to hide away thinking that they're the only ones that go through it. Bible says it. Everything that man goes through is no different to what other men have gone through.
That's right.
And we believe the lie that we are somewhat unique, and this task, this challenge, this thing that's on us, or this burden that's on us, is somewhat only for us. So this space is gonna be that space, especially for men. Like we're gonna have those conversations, and it's not those conversations about, man, we're here to cheer you on. That's gonna be part of it because we need it. We definitely need it, but also we need to have conversations about boundaries. We're gonna have to have conversations about, are you setting yourself up for failure? What are you looking at? What are you entertaining? Where do you go on the weekends?
What do you consume? And this is it. Like again, Everyone is in a very different walk, but conversations can be had
Yeah.
to see a different perspective. And I think that's what even me and Jez were on different walks, even though we're clear. Like, I kid you not, guys, me and Jez are so clear on how things need to be for both of us. I've never been more clear. And I believe that the more I read and the more I have conversations, I become more and more clear.
Yeah.
But this like, if you feel offended by our clarity,
Man, I'm sorry, but
that's
I'm
your
not sorry.
own. That's your own.
That's your
honestly.
business.
But at the same time, it's like a conversation can be had.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hey, we ain't pleasing people. We're not people pleaser. I've done it for too long.
And I've done a madness that I need to get out.
Yeah. I've done I've done too much people pleasing, and I've done too many things in the shadows because of the people pleasing, and
right.
I've sold myself. I've sold a different image of myself, and so we're not doing that no more.
That's right.
Not in this space. So, bam, that's episode 1, man.
Episode 1, bro.
Yo, that was man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
We can. I'm not gonna lie. We probably could keep going, but like,
Yeah. I think the meat comes in episode 2.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
yeah. So before we end, again, another personal thing. I want people to understand that the way I got here is because of certain people, and I'm gonna. So God had placed this on me, but like, I always had the struggle of knowing whether God is talking to me or it's something. It's my ego, it's my pride, it's whatever it is, right? And the best thing I figured to do was to talk to people who deeply cared about me, people who were walking with Christ, and people who genuinely had the best outcome for me. And so I spoke to a lot of people to let them know about this, that I want to do this, because I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to say things that are could be used. I'm going to be put myself in a position of accountability, and I want to make sure that people were aware, right? And so I spoke to you, Phil. I spoke to George. But the reason why I'm here, I'm doing this, and like, people that gave me the confidence and the courage and the support, I just had to let them know. My boss / business partner, Yao, I mean, I didn't want to do this because, a lot of things, but he was just like, Jez, this is your thing. This is your thing.
Support.
Go do it. Right.
Massive shout out to Yao, man.
Massive
honestly.
shout out to Yao. Then there are people like my friend Brooke from college.
Okay.
And crazy enough, like, we hadn't talked in years, and for some reason, like, I just reached out to her, and ever since then, we've been just having this conversation. I just poured out my whole heart to her, and the way she responded was absolutely amazing. Like, and I realized these are the relationships I want to have in life. So shout out to you, Brooke. Like, all love. I can't wait to have her on the podcast too, because she's dope.
Yeah.
Like, her walk and her story is just amazing. My boy Vic, shout out to my boy Vic, another boy from college. We share the same birthday. We used to celebrate our same birthdays. And I don't have many friends from college anymore, but he's one of them that stayed in touch.
College. Sorry, I had to do it.
Yo, the accent is fading. Yeah. It's fading slowly.
It's not fading, but that is strong. See, I'm about to swear that, it's strong, bro.
Yeah. So my boy Vic, all love, man. He's been by my side since the day everything went wrong. Man, he's been there. He's like, the way we always seem to find ourselves at the same sort of predicament or change in life.
Yeah.
And the man, that's a man of integrity. Like, yeah, I got a lot of love for him. I'm hoping, like, all these people I'm mentioning, like, I'm hoping one day I can have them here, and like, so that people can understand that the depth of the friendship and the importance they have, and the effect they had on me. Shout out to Vic. Shout out to my mentor that I had, kind of like remotely, that I met through my previous work engagement, James. Amazing person. Prayed with me a lot of times about like what I need to do, and having faith, and so, man, all these people have been somewhat involved, right, in making this happen, right, and giving me the courage and the confidence, right. But yeah, you guys, I love all of you guys because what I have in that community, every person should have. Like the fact that, like, when I would talk about community, I'm not talking about a church that we can all walk into with 300 people and we're all singing the same songs and everybody loves everybody. We know that doesn't exist. But community means there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that know my heart. They know my struggles. If I'm about to do something stupid, I can call them right now, guys. I'm about to do something stupid. Like, I need y'all. And I know we fool around a lot. Like we have, but we, like I said, we work in progress. We're trying to get better with that. But we don't ever sugarcoat. We don't ever sugarcoat when we're going wrong.
I think that's the beauty of it all. Like, if I want to do something mad, it's either I do it and I go back to the guys and I say, guys, I did something mad, and then they can reprimand me or be like, yo, that's all right, bro, whatever. Or if I'm like, oh, guys, I want to do this. Yeah. Oh my gosh, man. Like, and they're able to tell me, like, Phil, like, leave it alone, man. Don't do that, or don't go there, or don't eat that, or don't drink that. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, cool. You know, you got your brothers that can sit and they pray, and it's not just don't do that, don't do this. It's reason. You got people that are able to reason rather than aid you in your nonsense. Do you know what I mean? You know, there's balance in all of it. So. Yeah.
I think, I just wanted to let people know that there were people in the background that poured into me. And the reason why I'm harping on about community is because I have it. And I used to not have it. Right. And, or I never used to have the right community. Let me say that. Because there were good people in my life before that. But it's just, it wasn't rooted in community in Christ. Sure. So, so, man, that's it. Till the next one, man. I'm excited, bro. All right, guys. That's it. We done.
Peace, folks.